focusing on what is going on within the APC. We've got Dr. Samson Jaja, who is a member of the Board of Trustees of the APC, joining us from Abuja. Good morning, sir. Thank you for joining us today on the program.
Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you very much for inviting me.
All right. Well, having seen the way the primaries has played out in Edo State, for those who agree, you think that they should be willing to let sleeping dogs lie now?
I will say, when you invited me to this program, my decision is to come here and pour out my indignation at the way the NWC has been carrying on its activities of administering the party. But having been made to know that Mr. President, the leader of the party, will be intervening in the crisis, it has actually withered down my resentment and, of course, the way I'm going to go about this issue. I really do not want to be judgmental now, which is what I would have done ordinarily without the Mr. President showing interest in what is happening. So the primaries that took place in Edo State is still contentious. Yes, it's taking place, but some factions of the NWC are also not in alignment with what happened in Edo State yesterday. So like I said, I don't want to be judgmental. So when you say allowing the sleeping dog to lie, that lies with the NWC themselves. If they were allowed the sleeping dog to lie, it's not of me to talk about that.
Well, when you speak about the president going to intervene, is it clear-cut that he will? And what manner of intervention do you expect? Because there are those who are asking for different things. Some say the NWC needs to go. Some say let's convene in NEC to sort all of this out once and for all. What do you expect?
Yes, the president has a lot more information than any one of us. He's been meeting with different segments of the party, different individuals, different groups. Apart from the organs he has not met with. So he has a lot of information as to how to go about it. But if you ask me, I will tell you that categorically that the NWC had failed the party completely. They had failed the party without remedy. They had blatantly raped the constitution of the party. They have no moral justification to even say anything that concerns the progress of the party, because they don't have the progress of the party at heart. So it behoves the party now to convoke the National Executive Meeting to take a proper way. Do you know that the party has no board of trustees who would have been handling these issues, who would have been intervening, who would have been mediating? I mean, it's an insult. It's an insult to the psyche, to the intelligence of every member of this party. That a party, a great party like this, a ruling party, has no fundamental organ that is supposed to be the custodian, the conscience of the party. The NWC is a failure as far as I'm concerned.
But you are a member of the Board of Trustees of the APC. So when you say there is no Board of Trustees, what exactly are you talking about?
Yeah, we're about 161 persons that were appointed members of the Board of Trustees from our separate areas. But we've not been inaugurated. So we cannot be operating from our homes. It's just that on paper. Ordinarily, would have even been ending our 4 years.
What's supposed to be?
Now, the first tenure of the Board of Trustees has not been inaugurated. The party has never had Board of Trustees. They have not had the conscience of the party. The people who are supposed to are betrayed.
So what is supposed to be the role of the Board of
Different
Trustees?
crisis.
Yeah, just one moment. What is supposed to be the role of the Board of Trustees, and why has no one raised any issue about the fact that the trustees, the board hasn't been inaugurated?
That has been raised severally. There are papers even going around now on that issue. A lot of people have talked about it. But for the reason best known to the NWC, they have refused to inaugurate the Board of Trustees. And their role, they are the conscience of the party. They are the custodians of the assets of the party. They are to mediate, intervene in crisis in the party. They are to ratify all appointments, all committees appointed. They have critical roles to play. They are the interpreters of the constitution of the party. And this organ, and also a body, has not been inaugurated. And of course, that's where we find ourselves.
Okay. Well, you know, when you say you decided to just change the way you were going to be, you're not going to be judgmental since the president is going to be intervening. It's also equally important to see how we can aggregate different views such that when eventually, at least the president can, haven't heard from so many other people. But we also do have joining us this morning, Honorable Samson Osagi, who is a former minority whip, to weigh in on the matter as well. Good morning, and thank you for joining us today. Well, haven't also heard that, the governors did meet with the president, trying to see how he could wade into all of this. Did you equally change your mindset as to what to expect moving forward?
Hello, Chamberlain.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. It's
Okay.
nice to be with you this morning.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So go ahead. Did you get the question?
Yeah, whether I could still make some comments about the issues on ground in the APC following the president's decision to intervene. Of course, it is only those who are probably part and parcel of those precipitating crises in the APC that will shy away from speaking the truth. At the moment, if you look at the composition of the National Working Committee, you will understand clearly we have one man who is now on a riot spree, trying to cause problem and foment troubles within the NWC, and that is Mr. Victor Giadom. The entire body of the NWC are intact, and you can see that it is only him that is foisting the chairmanship of the party on himself and not allowing the processes that have been set in motion by the NWC for the conduct of the primaries in Edo State to flow seamlessly. But thank God we have achieved substantial success. We are taking that behind us now. We have a candidate in the APC in Edo State. And the NWC, as you can see, is intact in spite of the judicial intervention with respect to the suspension of the chairman. Senator Ajimobi is the acting chairman of the party, who is being represented on a few occasions now by the National Vice Chairman South-South. I do not think that we should completely blame the NWC for what has happened. If you have a home and organization where very few persons have made themselves available as tools for disruption and crisis, it takes a lot to manage such a system, and that is what you find in the NWC. The NWC is the administrative organ of the National Executive Committee, and that organ also consists of Mr. President and the Vice President. Mr. President knows exactly what the issues are. When the governors came out from the meeting with him, they stated that much, that you will be amazed at the volume of information before Mr. President on the crisis in the party. And so he understands the issues involved. He understands that people are doing their calculations for 2023 and they want to control the soul of the party. He understands the forces at play. and he knows those who are precipitating crisis. And I want to thank the governors who have now decided to say, okay, we need to intervene and put paid to some of this crisis. APC is strong in Edo State here. We have a candidate now, and we are ready to confront the next elections, in spite of the effort of Mr. Giadom and some of his sponsors to ensure that the Rivers position, where they could not produce a candidate, becomes the lot of Edo State, even
Honorable
though we were
Sage,
not
if you can hear
responsible
me,
for it.
if you can hear me earlier.
You land are clear.
Hear me? Oh, great. So we spoke with Dr. Sam Jaja. I hope you caught that conversation. And he was saying emphatically that the NWC has failed the party. Now, there are a lot of angles to this. A lot of people are calling for the NWC to be dissolved and what have you. But you seem to be saying that this is not the fault of the NWC whatsoever. So what is that solution you're looking for?
The solution lies in party members and people who have been given responsibility in the NWC to be responsible. What we find today is that certain persons who have responsibility in the NWC have lent themselves as instrument of destructions of the party's activities by external forces. So it's for those people to be reined in, called to order, and made to follow the rules and regulations of the party. The NWC is intact. As you can see, we only have one man that is on the riot spree, and that's Mr. Victor Giadom. And that is the position as of today. So, and I believe Mr. President understands this, and the governors also understand this at this moment. So if there be a judicial intervention affirming the suspension of the national chairman, we ought to allow the judicial process to run through, and then the next in line takes over. It's not for a deputy national secretary who resigned long ago to be foisting himself, procuring court orders to come and say it's the national chairman. Okay. Where can that bring about peace? It can never bring about peace. So my solution and my prescription is that party members, party leaders, and party officials need to be disciplined. That is it.
Well, you've mentioned Mr. Victor Giadom, and let's just go over to Dr. Jaja just to get clarification, because you particularly mentioned that name at least 2-3 times. So, Dr. Jaja, he has said for him, that's Honorable Sage, he believes that Mr. Victor Giadom is the main issue here. You think it's the NWC. Some will say he's also part of the NWC. But you know what? Help us clear the air on that. Do you agree with Honorable Osage?
Well, I definitely do not agree with Honorable Osage. Gentlemen, I am a fundamental core stakeholder in this party from beginning. I want to preserve this party, which I labored for, which I suffered for. I was one of the 4 signatories to the Memorandum of Understanding between the APC and the new PDP. And therefore, I cannot be seen to be taking sides to destroy the party. Calling names is absolutely not the right thing to do. Insinuating that people from outside are penetrating the NWC is absolutely wrong. If the NWC is doing something wrong, point it out. They have blatantly disrespected and disregarded the Constitution, and that is where the problem is coming from. And like I told, I don't want to be judgmental. If we go into depth of what the NWC has done, they have no moral right to still be there. It's not a question of singling out somebody. What culminated into Victor asking to be the chairman? And of course, if he had gotten a court order to be the chairman, and you are true leaders, you go along with him and you had the number, as you say, in a meeting. You know how to go about it. I will not come now to lay my party bare before the public, before the international community. It is not done, most especially when my president is going to intervene. I don't just need to prejudice the position of my president. I have my own bias and prejudice too. But I wouldn't come here to accuse anybody. I'm accusing the body of the National Working Committee of having done things wrongly, of having disrespected the Constitution they have sworn to uphold. And that is where the core of the crisis lies. A lot of things had gone wrong. They have done so many things. that angers most of us who are fundamental stakeholders in this venture. It's not calling names. It's not justifying whatever position you are taking. What is wrong is wrong. And it's been happening over and over and over and over again. It's not the first time.
Exactly the issue.
It's not just that Victor is from Rivers State, and that's what ordinarily I wouldn't have wanted to come because people look at my opinion here as being biased. No. I'm being realistic.
The point that I was going to raise is exactly what you just brought up, that these things have gone on for so long, and some even say that as a result of the activities that you have pointed out, your party has lost a number of states, and now the president is intervening. Some might say that's a little too late in time. What would you say?
Well, it's not too late. It's better late than never. It's not too late. The party has not crashed. No, people are just there fostering their own personal interests. Whatever you're accusing A is also applicable to B. It is their interest that they are protecting and not the party. If they are working for the party, we wouldn't have gotten to where we are. And I avoid, like I tell you, it's my party, and I avoid saying anything that will bring my party to disrepute. And that is what exactly they are doing. You bring the party outside and you wash it and spread it, without having recourse to know that it is the core institution that puts all of us together in this political system.
Honorable, let me take this to Honorable Samson Osagie. Very, very quickly, you heard one of the things that Dr. Jaja said earlier about the fact that the National Working Committee has not organized the NEC meeting, has not even convened the Board of Trustees. And that, as far as he's concerned, is part of the reason, ways in which the NWC has breached the Constitution. Do you agree?
I don't agree. Dr. Sam Jaja is one of our leaders from the South-South. He was one of the aspirants to the position of national chairman in 2018. The APC did not start from the memorandum of understanding between the new PDP and the APC. I was a member of the Legacy Party. I was an opposition leader of the APC in the House of Representatives. Now, we understand that since the beginning of the year, particularly February up to now, it's been difficult to convoke any meaningful meeting owing to the coronavirus pandemic. Of course, this period would have been the time that all the necessary organs of the body ought to have been meeting. But it has not been made possible by the fact of the coronavirus pandemic ravaging the entire world today. Now, let me say this. I will mention names where the need arises. Is it not an act of irresponsibility for a party official at the national level to run to court to procure a court order in order to foist himself on the leadership of the party? It's an act of irresponsibility. It doesn't matter who is involved. It doesn't matter where the person comes from. And as I speak with you today, the National Working Committee is intact. You just check yourself. The numbers of members in the National Working Committee, they are all working together, except a few others who are being remote controlled from outside. And this is not healthy for the head of the party. And the leadership of the party, Mr. President, the governors, they are aware of this fact. So the point must be made clear that the National Working Committee means well for this party. They are the administrative organs of the party. And I do not see, with respect to the latest event regarding primaries in Edo State, and of course the one coming up in Ondo State, what the National Working Committee has done. Fortunately or unfortunately, Dr. Sam Jaja has not mentioned one thing that the National Working Committee has done wrong to violate the constitution of the party or done what is not right.
Honorable Osage.
So we cannot begin to make sweeping statements to carpet an organ of the party.
What we will do is we will take that point up shortly. We'll take that point up shortly about what the NWC has done. But before we move on to that, there are two things that we need you to clarify. First, you say it's not been easy to have a NEC meeting as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. But your party just held the primaries yesterday. So on that premise, why can't you then do the NEC or the meeting if you're able to hold your primaries? And then secondly, when you... okay, could you want to respond to that one first before we move on to the second one?
Yes, I will respond to that quickly. when there are activities as major as party primaries in the state, you cannot lump series of meetings that precede next meeting and up to next meeting together. All these things have procedure. Although I'm not a member of the National Working Committee, neither am I speaking for them, but I reason, and I have read statements from the National Working Committee, that this is the reason why that has not happened. In any case, holding party primaries and conducting party primaries is the sole responsibility of the National Working Committee according to the Constitution. Okay. Of course, the NEC will give guidelines for it, and that has happened in the past, which guidelines are still extant. So I do not see what has gone wrong, what has gone amiss, except, of course, a few persons or one or two people are busy shopping from one court to the other in order to ensure that the Edo State do not have a candidate of the APC. Nothing can be much more than anti-party for that matter.
Secondly, when you say that, and use the word that they procure the court judgments, don't you think that that denigrates the judiciary? You're painting them in one brush, and that doesn't look good. I mean, having been a lawmaker, they say you should know better.
Let me withdraw that. Let me withdraw that and substitute it with obtaining a court judgment. Obtaining?
Procurement? That takes away from... Because, I mean, if they approach the courts, if the lawyers, the courts, I mean, aren't they bound to listen to the cases based on what's presented before them?
But as you must have been told or you have heard, the plaintiff in that suit, which has purportedly vested him with the powers to be the leader of the chairman of the party, has said that he didn't ask court for it. So there are a lot of questions begging for answer. The order of court asking Giadom to be acting national chairman was purportedly obtained by Saliu Mustafa, national vice chairman of the Northwest, of the Northeast. Now, and he has come out to deny that he didn't apply to court for that. So why should we give credence to actions of a member of a National Working Committee whose actions are inimical to the head of the party? All right, these are actions of individuals within the party that we should condemn. We call a spade, and not another name. We cannot speak generically without speaking to the issues. This is the issue.
We'll clear one or two more points before we bring in Dr. Jaja when we return from this break in just a moment. Don't go away. Welcome back. Well, Honorable Osage, initially when you started speaking, you did say that the NWC is not completely to blame, meaning to some extent they are to blame. So before we bring Dr. Jaja, you first, to what extent can the NWC be blamed?
I don't think I made any insinuation to that effect. What I said
NWC is not completely to blame in your opening.
No, I don't think I said so.
We all heard you, Honorable
Osage. I have insisted that the NWC is intact and that the few persons within the NWC are the people lending themselves for external manipulation to cause crisis in the party. And I think that has been the dominant part of my presentation today.
Okay, let's say that you
and
take
I said
that back.
That Jaja has not mentioned anything that NWC has done wrong.
Okay. Let's say that you take that back. A number of times you have said, over and over again that some external forces are manipulating some people. Do you want to be specific?
No, I don't have to be specific. These are matters already in public knowledge because I want to take a hint from Dr. Sam Jaja, not to begin to name names on this platform now. But suffice to say that it is an art of indiscipline to party rules and regulation for a member of the NWC to begin to shop for court orders against the constitution of the party in order to foist himself on the leadership of the party.
Well, yes, let's stick to the issues, please. Dr. Jaja, could you go ahead, please?
Yes, let me just address few issues raised by Honorable Osage. First, he talked about APC being there before the new PDP and the MOU. Yes, I never said APC was not there before the amalgam of new PDP with APC. But I said that I am fundamental, so the amalgamation of new APC and new PDP. APC have been there, but they needed the support of the new PDP to be stronger. And that was what we gave. That support we gave helped us to be who we are now as a party in this nation, a ruling party. And that by reason of signing that memorandum of understanding, I am a core stakeholder. Nobody can take that away from me. That's that. And the issue of my contesting as the national chairman in 2014, no, I never contested. I declared interest to contest for the chairmanship of the party in 2014, and I bought form to contest for that election when eminent and well-respected leaders of the party invited me and pleaded with me not to contest for good reasons they gave to me why I should shelve that idea. Being a party man and being interested in ensuring that the party wins, what should that sacrifice be? What sacrifice could I make other than to adhere to such advice? The form is still with me. I wasn't paid back the money I paid to collect the form. I respected the leaders of the party, and I didn't contest. So I wasn't a contestant. I was an interested person. I was an aspirant. And the next thing he said is that I had never mentioned one thing the NWC did that is wrong. Of course, to start with, I said that I wouldn't want to disparage my party, most especially when the president has declared interest to intervene in the crisis. So to be foolhardy, coming here now to begin to enumerate what they had done wrong. And of course, if we said the party should not go to court, then why should I bring my party to the public court to disrepute? Whatever thing I said about the NWC, the offenses they had committed against the Constitution, the infractions, I'm denigrating my party publicly. This can be handled internally. It can be handled inside. The people who are supposed to mediate, if they invite me, then I'll tell them exactly what they had done wrong. But I mentioned one thing that is fundamental, which cannot be swept under the carpet. And that is the fact that BOT has not been inaugurated since inception. Is that not sufficient an offense? And he said I had not done that. And again, when we begin to talk about people fueling crisis, then that means the people at the NWC are not qualified. If you're a man of your own, integrity, it becomes difficult for anybody to manipulate you to cause crisis in a party you belong. You don't put fire in a house you are ruling, a house you are leading, because somebody from outside is asking you. If you have your onions, if you know what you are expected to do, if you are qualified to be where you are, you should be able to hold your ground and say no to certain things, to certain requests.
Now, Dr. Jaja, ever since you showed interest to maybe become the chairman of a party, to this point, things have not been entirely clear-cut. One big question a lot of people still ask, at least people watching from outside, is who is the national chairman of the APC? Maybe from an inside view, you have a clearer perspective. So hopefully we hope to clear this one. So who are you interfacing with, as a member of the BOT? What's your perspective on that?
I'm not interfacing with anybody, but Victor Giadam has a court pronouncement that he should act for 2 weeks. Is that too much of a sacrifice if we love the party? 2 weeks, and it's not a sole administrator. All the NWC put together will be just the chairman. At that point in time, you can do anything within. You can equally remove him within. We should respect the court of the land. That pronouncement has been made, so we shouldn't be tearing ourselves apart. We should just respect the court. We are a law-abiding political party. And then also, what is it? It is this particular interest we are talking about, Mr. Sergey is talking about. It's interest that is playing out. Personal interest playing out, probably being fueled from outside, from the right and from the left. And that's why they disrespect the party. They disrespect every one of us who are members of the... I've not been to the party secretary for years because they had no need to calling me. A man who signed an MOU for a party, you don't know what they are doing.
Okay,
As
let
if
me
you have
take
no
this
opinion. I was the deputy national chairman of a ruling party in this country.
Right.
Don't I have sufficient experience on party leadership to even advise? I don't want to blow my trumpet. I don't want to go that way. But the thing is that I'm sufficiently angered by the way they are tearing the party apart, by the way they are disrespecting the constitution they swore to uphold. It's not to come here and begin to cover anybody, protect anybody. They are totally had done things that are not supposed to be done, and that bringing the party to public ridicule. And no, there's no justifiable reason for that.
Honorable Osage, I mean, if that were you, if that happened to you, wouldn't you feel aggrieved?
Well, like I said earlier, Dr. Sam Jaja is one of our very respected leaders from the South. I alluded to that. I have no problem with him at all. I feel very concerned that he said he has not been invited to any meeting. I think those are issues within top hierarchy of the leadership to address. But on the issues just now, I think that he has continued to hammer on one point, that Victor Giadom's court order ought to be given respect in order for him to act as chairman for 2 weeks. There are internal workings of the party. Court orders we know have to be respected. But unfortunately, in this case, Victor Giadom is not a party to that suit that has led to a court order. And legal opinions have come in to find out the true state of that court order and the circumstances under which it has been obtained. And the plaintiff in that suit has come out to say he did not and has approached a court for one order or the other. So for the smooth running of the party and the wisdom of the party, the Senator Ajimobi-led National Working Committee remains intact with vast majority of NWC members leading the party. So we must not allow confusion to set in. I am sure that matter is still before court, and at the appropriate time, the right orders will be made. I sympathize with our dear leader, Dr. Sam Jaja, and I know that by the time the top hierarchy of the leadership, the national caucus of the leadership, which I know meet often before the National Executive Committee meets, will have to address some of these issues. The Governors Forum is also a critical organ of this party, and they have from time to time remained proactive in intervening in crises of this nature. And I believe that Dr. Sam Jaja is sufficiently high enough to have opportunity to interface with the various organs at this point in time. But what is of paramount importance at the moment is that the activities of one man that is inimical to the head of the party, so as to deny Edo State of a candidate of the APC, is worrisome to many party members. And for those of us from Edo, it is not an action that we will take very kindly. And that is why we frown very seriously at the activities of Mr. Victor Giadom in trying to scuttle our chances of producing a candidate in Edo State.
Just to get clarification,
I believe
Honorable Osage, just to get clarification on the statement you made, you can add this to your thoughts. Now, you said when the right court order is given. What do you mean by the right court order? And you also say that you've gotten legal opinions. Are you saying that this legal opinion, or the legal opinions you've gotten, supersedes the court's order? Can you just clear that, please?
When an order is made at that interlocutory order, at that interlocutory level, and there is an appeal taken on it, for instance, or a step taken on it to vary it at any level, in principle, it serves as stay, even though it is not an order of stay from the court. The point I'm making is that the party is a responsible party and is also taking legal steps to address that, particularly when the plaintiff, who is said to have obtained that order, Malam Saliu Mustafa, has denied that he never asked court for such an order to appoint him as national secretary and to appoint Mr. Victor Giadom as national chairman. So if a man who is said to have obtained an order has denied that he never asked court to do so, does he not cast doubt on the authenticity or the legality of such an action? So the point I'm making is that the party must be taking legal steps to address those issues. But in the meantime, the party must function and its responsibility must be discharged. And that responsibility includes...
Well, Honorable Osage, I hope we can get back to you now, because when you say one person denied being party to the suit and that in the meantime, the party must function. So is the party going to function in disregard of the judgment? Because many lawyers have equally said that there was no appeal on that particular March 17, 2020 decision upon which the extension was predicated. And so if that were the case, if you say the party must function, shouldn't the party... Okay, well, I don't think we'll have him back now. But Dr. Jaja, you heard some of the issues that he's raised about this court judgment and those who disagree with it. Do you think then that having said that, that explains why is it justifiable, the actions of the party, based on his explanations?
Chamberlain, leadership entails a lot of wisdom, application of wisdom at every level, most especially at the political party level, where diverse interests and opinions are harnessed to achieve the goal of the party. If no matter how the court order was brought about, it is not for you to begin to interpret whether it was rightly or wrongly. Was there a court pronouncement? Yes, there was. Then what should you do as a leader with wisdom? Is to accept the court judgment, let him convoke a meeting. At the meeting, you appeal to him. You say, look, Victor, there is this, there is this, there is this. Let us do it this way. Dialogue is not tearing the party apart, coming to the public. You apply wisdom. That he is the acting chairman doesn't make him an autocrat. An acting chairman has to administer with other officers. And if all other officers put together and say, yes, we'll obey the court order, okay, you've presided over this meeting and all that, but we are saying that this cannot be this way, this cannot be this way, let us do it this way. They will all understand and agree. If they don't agree, you also have the constitutional right to say, you cannot lead us if we go it this way. And not for you to begin to say that this man said that. Why wouldn't the man go to court and tell the court that I wasn't part of that and let the court vacate what he has, the order the court has given? Is it in your place to begin to pick holes in a court judgment? There is a higher court, a superior court, to pick that hole, not you. Obey that court order. Use judgment, use wisdom. The issue is that when we are prejudiced already, when we are biased already, when we bring out our primordial sentiments into leadership, it fails. And that is what is playing out. You're already biased. Behind you, you had an intention. So whatever thing that's coming, you look for any way to scuttle it. Instead of using wisdom, even if we want to, please, this is my party, and I don't want to, like I said, I'm trying to restrain myself from saying things I should say in the private. It's a party thing. I am not debating with an opposition party. At that point, I should be able to come out fully. But I'm talking about my party. There are certain things I don't need to say on television. And it's not just an in-house thing. So they have not applied wisdom in this instance.
That's, what you have said just now is valid in that you do not want to disparage your party in public. What makes it of concern to Nigerians is the ruling party at the center and has a significant number of states under its ambit. And talking about states, one of the governors have begun to appeal to Mr. President to intervene in this matter. And it is because the issues in the APC are spreading, have already spread to so many states already. Some say it's the same reason that, a significant number of states were lost. And, there is crisis in Edo APC. There is also crisis in Ondo APC. If these issues continue, what do you see happening to your party? And for those who may not be at that meeting, where the meetings that you are proposing, what do you expect them to begin to do now to redress the issues in the APC?
Yeah, we have great leaders in the APC. We have the governors who, in their wisdom, they had watched from the sideline and had decided to approach Mr. President, who is capable and able to resolve this issue. It wouldn't escalate. We've watched identity so much in the public. Mr. President is up now, the governors are up, and they're equal to the task. I'm pretty sure that sooner or later, this problem will come to an end.
you talked about now, do you think they were valid?
Pardon?
You said that some party members have prejudices before they go, which inform some of the actions that they take. Some perhaps feel that they have been shortchanged. Some perhaps feel that they have been sidetracked. Consequently, they are also taking action to protect themselves. Do you think it's valid, their prejudices?
Well, I don't know what their prejudices are, so I can't justify or condemn their prejudices because they are not before me. But I think if they relate it to the appropriate quarters, they'll be able to look into their prejudices. I have mine. I really have mine. So we have where to solve it. But everybody who is prejudiced has a right to, and then of course has a reason to. And then when the solution will be found, everything will be tinkered together, and then we'll come out of this crisis stronger and better.
One of those prejudices, if you like the word, was expressed in our conversation with Honorable Agunaima last week, who said that the governor of Edo State wasn't carrying people along in the party, and consequently that perhaps made him and a number of other people in the APC in Edo State, significantly, displeased with the governor. And that's something that a number of people would probably say, look, this is why we're where we are vested. We have vested interest in this party. Do you think that kind of prejudice is valid?
Well, you are bringing me also into the judgment. To what I said, I don't want to go into judgment. This we can discuss in-house. And of course, the governor of Edo State had left our party for obvious reasons. So I wouldn't want to, but everybody has a right to his prejudice. But it's not my place here because I don't have the details of the complaints they are making. And the governor is not given a chance before me to respond to those prejudices. So it will be quite unwise for me to sit down here and begin to justify their prejudices or condemn it.
What we want to hear is, how you see things, because people watching, for example, they might not clearly understand what's going on. They just see, issues on the dailies and what have you, but they would like to get first-hand information, which, thankfully, I believe is what you've been given us. So regarding yesterday's primary, a lot of people are wondering, well, what do we believe? Did a primary really happen? Did it not happen? How do we move forward from here, especially because we're building up to the big election in September? So regarding that primary, how should people interpret it, really?
You see, you journalists, you are like lawyers. You dribble somebody this way, like Okocha, and you dribble the person this way, and all you are just going to the same way. All is aiming at the same goal. I cannot answer those questions. It is left for the body. It is my party. If it is wrong, it's left for the leadership of the party to say it's wrong. If it is right, it's left for the leadership of the party to say it's right. I cannot put my party into judgment on television. But if we're in-house, I have my opinion.
Okay. Now, speak to the concerns of those who are not members of the APC, but who see these things happening, the electorate. For instance, in Edo State, there are two factions in the party now. From where you stand as an elder, I mean, what do you think their mindset is now, the people of Edo State? Because the concern is, how do all these things concern the people? What would you say?
Yeah, I'm also worried about the people. But what I want to reassure them is that within the shortest possible time, before the campaign starts in earnest, we must have resolved all of them. So they should be rest assured that APC will come out strong. That's my appeal to them. They shouldn't get worried. In every big house, there must be conflict. But the important thing is the ability to resolve this conflict in time, and then the house carries along. In a family of a big number, definitely there will be dissenting opinions. But the important thing is for the father of the family to resolve the dissenting opinions of the children, and then the family moves ahead as one united body. And that's exactly what is going to happen to our party.
Well, yesterday, there were protests in Abuja, some people asking NWC to go, and then there were dissenting voices in different parts. People disagree sharply about different things. But after the governors of Plateau, Jigawa, and Kebbi met with the president, the Jigawa State, one of the governors there, I think Kebbi, he did say, look, for the fact that people are able to voice their opinion and their concerns shows that, yes, you do have that democratic norm and tenet within the party to voice their opinion. Don't you think that they will understand if we are to make some of those concerns known? Because they say, look, this is what our party stands for.
Yes. In a democracy, it is important for people to make their opinions known. But if it is an in-house opinion, what's the point taking it to the public? My opinion is in-house. And I know that we have machinery to listen to me in-house. So I don't need to bring it to the public. If I bring it to the public, I might be offending others. I might be offending a lot of persons who ordinarily would have listened to me in-house and agreed with me, will want to grandstand and, of course, oppose it, no matter what it is. You respect a man and tell him his fault, he will accept it. But if you want to grandstand, to tell the man you know much more and you can go to the public and you ridicule the man, you can say to hell with you. So I want peace. So whatever my opinion is that is wrong, I will discuss it in-house. Whoever I need to blame, I will look at the person straight in the eyes and tell him, you did something wrong. Whoever I need to commend, I look at the person straight to his eyes and tell him, your actions are commendable. And then, of course, we settle our differences in-house. But bringing it to the public, watching our daily leaders to the public, I may hurt the people who ordinarily will have accepted my opinion, and they will refuse it. And then, of course, I've not done the party any good.
Yesterday, having emerged as the governorship candidates of the APC in Edo State, Mr. Ezeyamu did say that that means that the party is on the path to recovery. So do you think that there will be any point whatsoever to undo the primaries for those who are aggrieved who may want to go to court? Yes, that has to be accepted, and people will then find a way to move on from there.
Yes, why not? If you talk to people's conscience, if you disregard people, then they can take the extreme action. If you invite them and talk to their conscience, definitely they are humans. Nobody benefits anything from litigations. No, litigation is the last option, just to prove that my rights shall not be trampled upon. But if you appeal to the conscience of somebody, what is the point? After all, we're all in this game together to ensure that the party wins. If the party wins, it's better for everybody. If the party loses, it's a loss for everybody. So nobody will be interested in undoing the party by seeking redress in the court if remedies can be found in-house.
Well, Honorable Osage, we'll have you just in the nick of time, but if you could briefly, because we need to go soon, give us your concluding thoughts. What would you suggest as the way forward now?
Well, Chambale, thank you so much. Sorry for that disruption. Let me quickly inform you that a few days after Giadom obtained that court order making him chairman, a court in Port Harcourt has also restrained him from parading himself as such. But I think in all of this, as party leaders and as party members, we need to take the interest of the party and its cohesiveness as our primary objective, so that we do not destroy the house we have collectively built. We know there are contending forces from time to time, but we must subsume those forces and those interests, within the purview of the party's overall interest. In all of this, I think that we have a common goal, and that is to ensure that the party delivers on its promises to the Nigerian people and to the various subnational governments that it has superintendence over their affairs. I believe this is a storm in a teacup for the APC. This battle will soon be over, and everybody will have a responsibility to ensure that this crisis is put aside.
All right, Honorable Osage, former Minority Whip, thank you for your time this morning. We hope the storm doesn't break the cup, though. But thank you for your thoughts this morning. And also, Dr. Sam Jaja, member BOT of APC, thank you very much indeed for your thoughts as well today.